Hello, I am Nimja, and this is Nimja Live, July 2018, with the theme Porcelain Doll Transformation. Hello, everyone. Let me see, is everything working well for people? All right, good to see that everything is working. Now, to begin the introductions, first of all, I want to thank my donators and my Patreon supporters for their continued support and their absolutely amazing, donations, and it's still surprising. I also want to say that the recording, of course, will be available on hypno.nimja.com/live with the background music and some cut of the chatter, of course. Now, I am not able to chat because the microphone is more important. And for those of you who want to meet me in real life, there is a meeting in Amsterdam in 2 weeks. There is a workshop in Belgium in September, and one more in Wales in November. Although I believe the Wales one may be already sold out. It's gone pretty quickly. Now let's see if I'm forgetting anything else. And of course, thank you for everyone who has been helping with community translations and transcriptions. For those of you who have transcribed the files on YouTube. Aha, there are 6 places left according to our resident organizer, Sue. Thank you, Sue. I will not be the only hypnotist there either. Harry UK and Lex from Entrancement UK will also be there. There is one more guest, but her name keeps escaping me. I may be able to quickly look it up. Let me see. Central Spiral, although it's not yet on the FetLife event description. That is a shame. Now that we have the introductions out of the way, let us begin discussing the theme. For those of you who don't know how this works, the first 15 minutes are basically introductions and discussing the theme, where you supply me with input for the file that we're going to do. Then there will be a trance that will last anything from 10 to 30 minutes. It depends a bit on how inspired I am. And afterwards we have the Q&A. So if you have any burning questions or just silly thoughts that you want to share, please wait until the Q&A. All right. So, with the theme Porcelain Doll. Now, I wonder if everyone is familiar with the old-fashioned porcelain dolls. Dolls that are not really intended to be played with, but sitting on a shelf looking pretty. So tell me, what do you see as a porcelain doll or in their transformation? Let's see the pretty eyes, cool, fragile. And no, you wouldn't be possessed. It's not intended to be a creepy file, just sort of a nice, relaxing transformation into something where you don't have to move. Blank stare. And I wouldn't call this particular doll that you would become abandoned. It would be a doll that is cared for. Let's see. And no, this will not be a doll being kept in a box. I have files for that. This is something else entirely. Let's see. Nice hair. Maybe a glass cage. Vintage outfit. Very delicate. An elegant. Well, porcelain dolls are generally not kept in a dollhouse. Did I fall asleep? Let's see, single doll or amongst a collection. Pretty. Only for a little while. How do I translate that? Something beautiful to be seen. I wonder if also porcelain dolls are more flawless than most dolls. Actually, a doll stand is also an interesting one. Would you want to be in a doll stand? To be kept in place? And yes, they are meticulously made. Let's see. Oh, I indeed see a problem with my green screen. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. I don't know about a glass cage, but I like the idea of a doll stand. All right. I am not sure if you would be, like, who would own the doll. That is a whole different matter entirely. Let's see. Yes, you can decide who you belong to. It could be anything, like an antique collector or someone who made you with all the care and love that they would pour into a porcelain doll. All right, I think we're almost ready. I would like everyone to make sure that they're in a comfortable position, laying down or sitting back. And if you want to participate in the trance, then make sure that you will not be disturbed. If you do not participate in the trance, I politely yet firmly ask you to be quiet in the chat. Please be respectful to those who do want to go into trance. After the trance, there is time for the Q&A when we will chat again. Are you all ready? All right. All right then. Let us begin. Hello, I am Nimja, and this is Nimja Live, Porcelain Doll Transformation. This file will slowly make you into a beautiful, cherished porcelain doll. Sit on display on someone's mantelpiece or perhaps kept as part of a cherished collection. Who knows where you would end up or who you are actually being made by? All that you know is that by the end of this, you will have skin as white as snow, with beautifully painted features, with glassy but shimmering eyes, and flowing locks that are always perfect. Porcelain dolls are not easy to make. They take time, attention, love and care to become what they are. In a way, it actually all starts with an idea, a dream, just a picture in someone's minds that they want to put out there in the real world. So close your eyes and imagine that you will become a canvas, a place for someone else's fantasies to be drawn onto your being. A beautiful, elegant canvas with pale white that will be the base for so much more. What we're going to do to help you fall into a wonderful state of trance is let you imagine how nice it would be to slowly feel a thin layer of porcelain being poured over you, as if someone is making a cast of your body. Just a simple print of who you are, so that it can be turned into a beautiful doll. The liquid itself is as warm as your skin. It is simple and light in the beginning. Just a tingling, soft, caressing feeling spreading from your forehead where your relaxing eyes lie down onto the rest of your face. The liquid carefully moves just to the side of your nose and over your lips. This gentle, relaxing, almost invisible and softly warm liquid flows over your chin and your forehead to make a perfect imprint. From here, you let yourself fall deeper and deeper so that the artist can start working. With some of the liquid porcelain already being poured over your skin, slowly making a copy of your face. You can feel the rest of your body relaxing, as it will be quite a while before we get to that part. So for now, you can just let yourself forget about anything below your neck and focus on your head, your face. All the features right now are sort of smooth and shapeless. With this soft liquid, almost like clay covering your skin, your face no longer has the exact same features as yourself, but would look more like a mannequin, something without many features at all. But slowly, carefully, with delicate touch and attention to detail, the clay is pressed against your skin a bit more. The shape of your face is being imitated, slightly simplified into doll form, but everything just feels so calm and slightly cooler than before. The warm paste that slowly cools around you is being shaped into a beautifully elegant face, still recognizable as you, just ever so slightly simpler, more doll-like. Someone from the outside would recognize it, and yet at the same time would know that the features are too pure, too calm to be really you. It takes a while for the clay, the porcelain, to settle. It takes a moment for it all to go just as hard as stone, and yet a bit fragile and brittle. Right now, the clay isn't a perfect white. It is a little bit gray, but that will be fixed very shortly. First, we will cover this new face without any details. No hair, no eyelashes or eyebrows or even color on your lips. Cover it in a beautiful base of white. Even through the stone you can feel the brush strokes of a thick brush, just slowly but carefully applying a thin, important layer of white all over your face. You can even feel it go down all the way over your neck, around the back of your head and all the way up again. It's nice, kind of relaxing to feel that amount of attention to your body. It doesn't take very long for the paint to dry, and once the paint is a bit more dry, a very thin, precise brush comes in to actually paint in some details. It tickles a bit when the brush goes over your lips, helping to find that little bit of definition that makes those lips look nice and red and almost lifelike. Softly the brush follows the contours of your nose and your eyes, creating shading and definition to make your doll-like blank face even prettier. With thinned red paint, a rosy glow is painted on your cheeks. It tickles ever so slightly, but it feels nice. And then, with meticulous attention to detail, your eyebrows are painted on. You can feel the soft rhythmic strokes all over the curve above your eyes. With a little bit of time, you know that it will become absolutely beautiful. You can feel how fingers softly touch your face. A strange feeling as glass eyes are placed where your eyes would normally show. Just a simple cover that makes you look so alive and yet at the same time beautifully blank. It feels kind of funny when eyelashes are being glued to your eyes. While you cannot see it yourself, you can imagine how pretty they would look. And when the warmth comes from a wig being placed over your now pale, empty head, you can almost feel the flowing locks falling down your shoulders. It only took a moment, it appeared, for your face to be completely transformed into that of a beautifully empty doll. If you were to open your eyes, you'd be nothing more than a head staring out. It is time finally to begin on the rest of your body. I'm sure that you know that dolls are almost completely empty, but they have some filling to keep their shape. We start by making the lower body heavy. For you to be able to sit as a doll, it is very helpful to fill the lower part of the doll with heavy filling, like sand or beans. And that weight feels so nice as you no longer have to or could move your legs, letting them rest where they are. And once you're filled all the way up to your hips, the filling continues with a lighter, airier filling like cotton. It helps your upper body to be light, even with the relative weight of your porcelain head. Of course, this is just the base. From here, we have to sew on all the details, putting on those beautiful old clothing. Because you are going to be on display. It is not just your pretty face. It is also the rest of your body. And while I am slowly working on the clothes, everything from shoes to all the details on the folds of cloth, while your fingers are being covered by the same material and also turn into beautiful porcelain hands. While you feel some hands sewing, stitching, moving and pulling, making your clothes so pretty, you can feel the coolness of your hands as they become more solid, and they too are painted with white. Then, with just the tip of the tiniest brush, red fingernails, and some tiny detailing to make them more alive. The transformation is almost complete. It seemed like no time at all, and yet it feels so calm to be in this state, to be no more than a doll to be displayed. Your stand is waiting for you. A curved piece of wood sticking out from a base to help you sit up. It presses against your back and between your arms and helps you sit up all pretty. When you are placed on your stand, you feel that you are in the right place, that you are fulfilling your purpose as a porcelain doll. Some final touches, some soft brushwork, and the cool air of someone carefully blowing the paint to dry. You can feel how cherished you are, the loving patience in every touch, the careful attention to detail in your whole creation. You feel small, and yet your beauty is enough to fill a room with joy. In a moment, I will let you open your eyes, and when you do, you will be staring through those glass eyes into space, feeling like a beautiful porcelain doll. This will only last for a while, of course, and if you want it to stop, you can. But as long as you want to enjoy it, you can let yourself sit, lay, or be in whatever pose you want to be as a blank, empty porcelain doll. Beautiful, elegant, on display. Open your eyes and let yourself enjoy the blankness behind your eyes. Allow yourself to feel how nice it is to just stare into the world blankly. But it's tiring to look, so just close them again. And feel yourself sink into that doll body completely. While the glass eyes are still staring at the world, your mind is no longer looking. So in a moment, this file will end. And if you want to listen more to me, you can stay nice and deep. Otherwise, you can easily awaken. In a moment, I am going to wake you. And when I wake you, it is up to you if you want to stay in the doll body for a little while longer or wake up back as a human. 1, 2, slowly waking. 3, 4, more aware. 5, 6, almost there. 7, 8, almost awake. And 9, 10, wake. Now I hope you guys had fun. The recording of this will be open-ended, which means that you can listen to something afterwards to make it last as long as you want. And like some are mentioning, do not forget to stretch, especially if you've been deep. It's really nice to stretch. All right, let's go into the Q&A. And yes, it does seem that I need maybe like another moderator. Fire Tiger asks, what would you recommend for someone who has anxiety, family issues, etc. and doesn't really know what to do? I've been talking to the school counselor, but that's about it and I need more. Well, it's good that you're already looking for professional support. You might just need a higher level professional. Arabelle asks, is it normal to be both in trance and not at the same time? Yes, that can happen to people. Heather asks, do you think your ability to improvise trances would be enhanced by more research before checking in with the audience for their perception of what is most salient? Well, the audience is quite varied, so it's difficult to get a good read on what everyone wants. Plus, not everyone who is watching is participating in the chat. Sonic Brian asks, how tough is your job? My day job as a programmer is fairly challenging, and I like it that way. Octavia Hall asks, what does it mean when people say the mind is on autopilot? Is that the same as being in trance? It's somewhat related, but it's not exactly the same. Bogdan asks, is there a way we can download your music background track you use? No, it is made by me and I have not released it separately. Sparkly Ember asks, how hot is it in Amsterdam right now? Fairly warm. It is, yeah, I mean, you can look up the weather easily, of course. Skater Rap Monkey asks, can I get noticed from my favorite hypnotist? Forgetting both a question mark and some grammar. Myrna Jacobs asks, which languages can you speak? Dutch, English, some French, some German, a bit of Japanese, a really tiny bit. Penny Addison asks, my dominant recently left me, and I don't know how to help my little side, and I feel like I'm always in subdrop. Advice? Go to Discord channels where littles gather. Even if you can't find a dominant there, you can hang out with other littles, and you'll feel a lot nicer. HP asks, what would you do if you wake up at Aperture Science? Pray that I make it out alive. ASMR Happiness asks, when in trance, can you still perform everyday things? Sure, you can do anything while under hypnosis. And Bogdan asks, is there a subject of Hypnophile you've been dying to try out? Most things I die to try out, I do. Heather asks, how many times do you bang your head against a problem before asking someone else? Well, nowadays with Google, it is easy to look something up. However, I try to challenge myself by attempting to make a solution, because trying to figure something out is part of the learning process as well. Looking everything up often means that you don't actually learn why. Andrea Price asks, any plans for a visit to the US? Yes, see my Patreon page. Jimmy asks, are you Asian? No, I am Dutch. Becca Rose asks, come to the UK again? Okay, well, it's not a question. I mentioned in the intro that I will be in Wales in November. Bruno Rodriguez asks, will you make an induction on this live? Well, no, you can mix it with any induction you want. Bogdan asks, do you think it's weird that although you have tens of thousands of subscribers, you don't always get a lot of views? Yeah, well, I think that a lot of people download the files, at least that's what the stats show. Stalking Anarchy asks, what is your favorite color? This has been asked maybe once or twice before. It is the clear blue of a winter sky. Stalking Anarchy asks, will you ever answer my question? I did. Sparkly Ember asks the very interesting question, any suggestion on how to deal with a scene if it's suddenly interrupted and aftercare is not possible? The best advice I can give is to communicate as soon as possible. Like, even if direct aftercare is not possible, trying to talk it out afterwards would be really nice. Ted asks, do you enjoy long walks or hiking? Actually, yes. Jimmy asks, will you ever read this? No. Octavia Hall asks, do you feel famous with all the subscribers you have? Not really. I mean, in the scale of YouTube, I'm a nobody. But, I mean, in the hypnosis community, some people know me. Christarina asks, I've noticed that you are not the only hypnotist to prefer hypnotizing in English, like our French friend Laurent. Is there something peculiar about English that makes it preferable for trancing? Yes, an audience. As stupid as it sounds, but the Dutch audience for hypnosis is incredibly small, and so is the French audience. Anna Vickery asks, who is your favorite English language author? Either Douglas Adams or like Terry Pratchett. HB asks, do you like human fall flats? I got all achievements. Fire Tiger asks, how do I get my parents to help me with anxiety if, because of it, I'm too nervous to ask them for help? Maybe write down that question on a piece of paper for them, or communicate via a way that you do feel comfortable communicating, like email. Sue asks, is it normal to almost trance when writing or doing scripts? It seems strange when it happens. Actually, yes, a lot of people, when they're writing scripts, they go in a trance themselves. No one asks, have you ever thought of writing books? You have an incredible imagination. Why, thank you. And yes, and I've written quite a bit. It's all online. Stalking Anarchy asks, are you married? I am sorry, I'm not going to answer any questions that are too personal. Octavia Hall asks, have you ever watched the anime Mirai Nikki? I have not. Penny Addison asks, I struggle with any file in which I have to picture something explicitly because of my autism. Any advice on how to help this? Well, 1, not every file is for everyone, and 2, practice. See which files you do connect with. Heather asks, how do you navigate the disconnect between being the great and dumbly hypnotist to a server full of people and maintaining a healthy self-image as just a guy who likes hypnosis and video games? By not really being the great and dumbly hypnotist. I am just a nerd, a programmer. Sarah asks, what was the hardest achievement you've ever received while gaming? There's a Portal 1 achievement that's really, really difficult. But the hardest achievements are the ones that I didn't do. Lotja asks, why do you like hypnosis? Mainly because it is a beautiful combination of my natural dominance, creativity, and control. June Smith asks, is there anything you collect? Jimmy asks, how old are you? I am 37. Fen asks, what does a posh Dutch accent sound? Please say something in a posh Dutch accent. I don't know if I can, I'm sorry. Stalking Anarchy asks, do you have any other channels for gaming or reactions? No. I will probably not do any gaming channels because I like gaming and I like to do it in my own time. Ted asks, have there been any more incidents between hypno-cats and hypno-mice? Not yet. I mean, I have the cats, but I'm missing some mice. Sparkly Ember asks, why are people originating from the Netherlands called Dutch and not Netherlandish or any other variation thereof? Because the area used to speak a language called Diets. And it is a confusing story. Jimmy asks, why is this age restricted? Because people can ask naughty questions, and they do sometimes. Robin asks, do you think there are better ways to get calm than hypnosis? I don't know about better. I mean, there are different ways, but... Pison asks, how does your style change when making a file versus hypnotizing someone in the room with you? I would say I'm slightly more thoughtful of the result, but it doesn't change that large. I mean, it's more intense for the person with me. Alfred F. Jones asks, as a general rule, do you sit or stand when hypnotizing someone in real life? That depends entirely on the situation. Stalking Anarchy asks, have you played A Way Out? I don't think I have. Fan asks, do Dutch parents have a particular cautionary story they tell children to make them behave? No, they don't have the same thing like the boogeyman. Someone asks, have you ever hypnotized a person next to you, not without consent? Bogdan asks, have you played Doom 2016? I have. I didn't finish it, but I got quite far in it. Heather asks, what are your favorite instant inductions and what is especially appealing about them? I actually quite like the simple eye closing technique from Elman, but most instant inductions just have a fun quirk. VideoMax says, I love you, you're the best YouTuber out there. I don't think I am. I think there's many other YouTubers who do a lot more effort for their channel. But thank you. Ted asks, are there any subtly hypno things that you enjoy doing in public spaces? I wonder if you'll find out the interesting way, Ted. Alfred F. Jones asks, which came first, realizing you liked hypnosis or realizing you were a dom? I'm not sure which one came first. They sort of developed separate of each other. Darian asked, what would you do if aliens land on our planet? Continue working and programming until it would actually affect my life. It is extremely unlikely that it would affect me directly. Someone asked, have you ever considered going on a Got Talent show like America's Got Talent? No. Those shows are entertainment. They are not real talent shows. They are there to make fun of everyone who participates, whether they win or not. I have no desire to participate in that circus. Now, also, please keep it to actually asking questions. Bogdan asks, do you love being trolly? No, I think trolls are annoying. There's a difference between being playful and being a troll. If you're trying to annoy someone, you are a troll. If you're actually trying to make them smile, that's something else entirely. Clever Nickname asks, has your accent always been the way it was, or has it evolved over time? It evolved like everyone's accent. Jimmy asks, what is your favorite Battle Royale game? I currently have none. Sparkly asks, do you think hypnosis can help with bereavement, or would that risk messing with the grieving process? I actually do think that hypnosis can help with acceptance, which would help with the grieving process. What I think is a bad idea is to try and make you forget or ignore the pain. Stocking Anarchy asks, do you live in Amsterdam or are you just visiting? I live there. Alfred F. Jones asks, when did you first try hypnosis for sexual reasons? And did it go as planned the first time you tried it? No. No, it did not go as I would have liked. Come on. I am just a person. I had to learn everything the hard way, just like everyone else. In fact, the even harder way, because when I was interested in hypnosis, the internet was not as prolific as it is now. So I had to go to the library where there were not like many books about it. Now I feel old. Jimmy asks, do you know who the angry video game nerd is? No idea. Someone asked, how did you find out that you had the gift of hypnotism? Well, it is a skill. It was learned. I have a gift for improvisation. That is a talent. That is not exactly learned, but you can develop it by practice and exercise. Sparkly Ember asks, can you roll your tongue? Yes, I can. I know what you mean, but I'm not doing it on camera. Ha 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 ha. Becca Rose asked, can you do your snake voice? Random Duck asks, have you ever played Minecraft before it was released? I am a nerd. I only paid €10 for it because it was still very, very cheap in alpha. It was an awesome game back then. It is still an awesome game. Stalking Anarchy asks, have you always wanted to be a hypnotist, or did you have an idea of the many of other things you wanted to do? I am not a full-time hypnotist. I am a full-time programmer. I do this as a professional hobby. And it grew over time. Bogdan the Lurker asks, do you have a favorite hypnosis scene in fiction, and if so, what was it? I can't think of any one right now. Becca Rose asks, have you ever broken any bones? I have not. I'm lucky. Fen asks, what was your most ambitious Minecraft project? The two nicest ones I've made and actually finished were a circular castle that it was like a castle in the sky kind of thing with a really nice entrance and like fountains in it as well. The other one was a semi-realistic giant treehouse. I liked both of the projects for very different reasons. Darian asks, did you try to hypnotize your parents because you're really bored of doing homework? No, I actually enjoyed school. I enjoyed learning. Learning is good. Developing yourself is also good. Random Duck asks, since you have a job as a programmer, do you know how to read binary code? Yes, all programmers have to learn to read binary code, otherwise they're not allowed. No, actually, like, I have not trained myself to read binary code. It is not worth it. I know what it means and I can translate into numbers, but no. Penny Addison asks, if you don't answer a question, would you rather people try and ask again or leave it? Like trying once more is okay, and otherwise just try later. Like another time, perhaps. June Smith asks, what's the last book you read? I think the last thing I read fictional, that was another chapter of Doc Future, which is a awesome book series online. I recommend it highly. Stalking Anarchy asks, have you seen Rick and Morty? Yes, I have. Ted asks, what is your favorite song at the moment? I don't know if I have a particular favorite. I was listening to a very odd song earlier today. Anyway. Fire Tire has another question, and I'm sorry. I think you need to take this offline. Rianne asks, have you ever been on the deep dark web? I have. It is not worth it. Oh, speaking of movies, I actually saw I think it's a British movie called The Machine from 2013 that was out on Netflix, and I quite like that one. Arabella asks, do you like Pokemon? Mew. Alfred F. Jones asks, did you take lots of notes on hypnosis in the beginning, or was it just something to read about? I am not a note-taking learner. Bogdan the Lurker asks, what is the strangest thing you've seen on the weird side of YouTube? Clickbait. Someone asks, what age group do you recommend is the best to listen to hypnosis? Any age group, really. It's suitable for any age. Like, of course, hypnosis itself is safe. The subject that is handled in the hypnosis is not suitable for every age. Heather asks, what is the nerdiest concept you've used in a recreational trance? Star Wars. Star Wars is actually very suitable for visualization hypnosis because it's a very visual style. Plus, actually making the Jedi mind trick work on people is quite fun. You will remember to watch more of me. Several people are asking, if you don't take notes, how do you do it? What I usually do, it depends a little bit on the subject matter. If it is factual, I sometimes summarize. So I write my own summary. And otherwise, if it is something practical, I will either apply it. So with math, you can do exercises. Or with physics, you can look at problems. And with programming, you can just do it. So Lotja asks, have you ever hypnotized your parents? I have not. I only hypnotize with consent. Sparkly Amber asks, you realize you just half Jedi tranced everyone on the stream? Yes, I do. Carla Ray asks, which type of files are your most popular? Well, there's a funny thing there, actually. There are two files that are more popular on YouTube than anything else, which is Lose Your Voice and Forget Your Name. If I look at the site, by far the most popular are the naughty files. Random Duck asks, have you ever heard about a card game called Magic the Gathering? Yes, I played it before there were any expansions. Again, I feel old. Although I did come to the Netherlands quite late. Heather asks, would you ever hypnotize your parents with their consent? Sure, hypnosis is nice and relaxing. Darian asks, do you often watch anime, and are you an otaku? I am not an otaku. I do watch a fair bit of anime. I watched One Punch Man again, which is hilarious. Okay. Heather asks a very involved question, so people please don't ask too many questions until I've answered this one. Under what conditions would you help the loved one locate professional therapists? When would you do the trance work yourself? And when would you dissuade them? The rules I have for trance and hypnotic effects are that they shouldn't be detrimental to natural processes. So I am personally against blocking memories or otherwise pushing away feelings to ignore them. So I would dissuade people if they're asking me to forget something bad, because forgetting something bad means that you will repeat the same bad thing. And so this is not the same as diminishing pain, because diminishing pain means that you don't actually forget about pain. It just means that you give yourself more energy to deal with it. As for when I would recommend them to a professional hypnotist or when I would do it myself, it depends. It's very difficult to answer this in a very simplified way. But basically, if the problem is singular, I am willing to take a look myself. If the problem is complex and very old, it is better to go to a professional. So a simple phobia I might help with, but I wouldn't guarantee anything. But anxiety or depression are very serious problems, and they're much better left to professionals. And again, these are not absolute rules. It's important to know your limits. Stalking Anarchy asks, can you wear a green shirt next time so we can only see your heads? Probably not. Carla Ray asks, would you ever hypnotize a police officer to get out of a traffic violation? No, because it would not be with their consent. Arabelle asks, can you do more pain-specific files? Do you mean causing pain or relieving pain? Sarah asks, how to tame a bratty little, spanks or tickles? Yes. Jezebel asks, what about forgetting a bad thing that is a trauma but is pretty much impossible to repeat? Even then, it's not good to forget. It's better to learn to let it go. Like everything in your life is part of who you are, good and bad. Without the bad thing, you would not be the same person. So forgetting it is not a good thing. Hannah asks, what is an area of hypnosis you'd like to improve on? Everything, always. More learning, more improving. Michelle asks, do you use subliminals? I have whisper tracks on some of the files, but otherwise no, because subliminals have not been proven to work. If you are not able to perceive it, it will have no effect on you. And indeed, as Bogdan says, those who do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it. Stalking Anarchy asks, have you ever played FNAF or Five Nights at Freddy's? I have not. Cyflo Mike asks, did you watch E3 this year? Nope. I followed some of the game developments, but no. I am not a fan of, watching advertisements. I mean, it's quite impressive how much those companies are, getting people to watch their ads. Luna asks, of what game would you like a Switch remake? Nothing. Make original games. Sorry. Basically, I'm okay with Switch remakes, and I find it very nice that a lot of indie studios are getting a good platform, like a good portable platform for their files, for their games. I own Shovel Knight on Steam, so I will never buy it on the Switch, but I'm very happy for them that they have it on the Switch. Spicy Salad asks, why did you make this age restricted? This was also asked before, because there can be naughty questions or serious and adult questions. Darian asks, would you marry someone you hate, but the person that you married likes you? No, A relationship should be from both directions. Fen asks, if there were a watching paint dry world championships, would you rather be the judge or one of the contestants? Wouldn't the contestants be paint? Or are the contestants watching the paint? Like, do they have to intensely stare and make sure that they can see it when the paint has finally lost that tiny bit of sheen that means it's still wet? Penny asks, would you make a file for victims of abuse or toxic relationships? Maybe. I don't know. It's very difficult to make a file for a victim of abuse because there's so many different types of abuse and toxic relationships. Alfred F. Jones asks, do you think Waluigi should be in the new Super Smash Bros. Game? I don't care that much about Wario or Waluigi. Lycans then asks, I noticed a trigger that was used in a lot of files hasn't been used much lately. Are you planning on bringing it back? Maybe. Anna Diaz asks, what am I doing here? Well, hopefully you are lost but pleasantly surprised by a strange group of people who are interested in hypnosis. Pison asks, was it ever tempting to retrans everyone in the middle of a Q&A? Yes. And Jezebel asks, are you now going to do a watching paint dry induction? No. Have you ever noticed that I actually try to avoid boring things? Someone asks, would you ever change anything about this channel or the way you deliver your content in the future? Not really. The thing that I would like to change is put more BDSM related stuff on YouTube, but like I can't. YouTube has very strict policies relating to sexuality and stuff. Becca Rose asks, can you please say, it's a me, Mario? Flights of Whimsy asks, do you write as quickly and as easily as you improvise verbally? Yes. June Smith asks, what colors are the walls in your room? Obviously, they are a white fading to sort of purple bluish. No, they're white. Bogdan asks, maybe an induction about painting like Bob Ross. I'm sure I could paint away those happy little thoughts. Kaza asks, what inspired you to start doing live events? It was an experiment, it was a success, and it was enjoyable, even though it's a bit of work to set up. Carla Ray asks, do you do a boring thing? Well, of course, I have to do life things. Michaela asks, have you ever been to a Disney park? Only Disney Resort Paris, or as we call it, Euro Disney. Ted asks, would you write more vampire-based stuff? I'm probably not going to continue any of my stories anytime soon. Penny Addison asks, do you have a specific file for aftercare? Yes. The title is Aftercare. Pison asks, what file got you into the most trouble with YouTube? Some masturbation instructions, if I remember correctly. What's actually really funny is that I have had some much naughtier files on YouTube back then, including a tentacle one. And it was a very relatively light file that got flagged. Darian asks, how would you react if all of your fans unsubscribe from you? I would be very confused. Like, the subscription count has been, like, fluctuating but pretty stable. Random Duck has, do you have a place that you want to go before you die? Not particularly. Hannah asks, can you tell a joke? I'm so tempted to just say knock knock to see everyone in the chat say who's there. Like, it would not work on stream. See? And now everyone is saying who's there. Alfred F. Jones asks, you said masturbation with a straight face. Are there any naughty words that make you blush when you say them? I don't think so. See me. Knock knock. Who's there? Drop who? Drop you. Or something. No. Someone asked, have you watched The Office US? And have you realized you look just like Robert California if you were pale? No, I haven't really watched The Office, and apparently I don't really look like him. Penny Addison asks, how was your day? Very warm. It was very, very sunny here, and I spent most of the day outside. Darian asks, do you know Undertale? Yes, I own it. And I'm tempted, Becca Rose asks, I actually love you. I'm tempted to reply, a bit in the style of Bo Burnham, no, you just love the idea of me. Fan asks, what's in your lunchbox? Nothing, I don't have a lunchbox. Random Duck asks, this is a weird question, but do you think ID Dubs is hot? I have no idea who that is. Hannah asks, do you have a favorite suggestion to use in a street hypnosis type situation? Usually gluing hands together is fun and simple, and it works very well without embarrassing someone. Jezebel asks the impossible question, what is your favorite Weird Al song? You can't just pick one. Come on. Python asks, are switchy subs still switches? I've seen quite a few people argue this. See, the dominant role is a bit like sexuality. Even though there are definitions for just a few positions, reality is not black and white. Bogdan the Lurker asks, have you ever heard of strong bad? Answering the email, answering the email. Kasukami asks, can you drop us like it's hot? Well, I don't want to drop the mic. Groovy asks, which hypnosis YouTuber would you recommend? I found out I like hypnosis, thanks to you. Well, it depends on what kind of voice you like. I think Fiona is very nice as a female voice, and Monsieur Laurent is actually quite a nice male voice, and he deserves some more exposure. Kaza asks, why do you think EH is not a publicly accepted fetish? Nothing is a publicly accepted fetish. Even spanking is considered to be too naughty for a lot of people. Stalking Anarchy asks, can you rap? Who's rapping? Dovahkiin. Dragons? I'm not Dovahkiin. I'll slice them like a knife going right through an aubergine. My dragon shout flow is sweeter than a soda stream. You won't believe your eyes. It's like an overload of dopamine. A broadsword in one hand and a magic shield in the other, and the lash of the dragonborn. There's no other, my brother, so run for cover. It was the first rap lyrics I could come up with that I know by heart. And I do believe I did it slightly faster than the original. Speaking of rapping, I actually performed the Stephen Hawking side of Einstein versus Stephen Hawking when Nice Peter was in Amsterdam. You've got no idea who you're messing with here, boy. Many people are very curious what I had for dinner today. Penny asks, when will the stream end? In about 6 minutes. Jezebel asks, holy moly, would you please do a rap induction? I don't know. See, it's a lot easier to do a rap when you know all the words. I think improvising a rap would be a lot more difficult. June Smith asks, twist, what did you have for lunch? Tapas. The rap induction may be on the same pile as the sarcastic induction. The Batman induction will never happen because that is copyrighted material. Of course, I could do the anonymous superhero that might be a bat person. Let's see, Batman voice. I'm Batman. I'm Batman. Hello, I am Nimja. Luna asks, do you watch V.S. the Mole? No, I actually don't watch much television. Darian asks, have you ever broken up with a girl? Yes, I have been both the recipient and the giver of a breakup. Causer? Miriam asks, what will be your next fantasy hypnosis subject? Well, if you are a patron supporter, you do not have to wait long to find out. Oh no, wait, I think it might just be a site file. Oh, you're lucky. Fen asks, what was the worst way someone broke up with you? Very simple. And this counts for everyone, I think. The worst way a person can break up with you is by not telling you, by ignoring you, by not saying anything until days or weeks or months later, they finally say like, oh, I want to stop. If you want to break up with someone, no matter how hard it is, tell them. There is nothing worse than like ignoring, playing silent. It's very simple. So if you are in a relationship and you want out, tell them. It is better for everyone involved. Becca Rose asks, can we get hugs, sir? Please? Sir? Michelle says, Alice in Wonderland is in the public domain. Interesting. I will check that out. I don't know if that's true, because there's a lot of Alice in Wonderland type things still being done. Alfred F. Jones asks, do you think taking a break from a relationship is healthy, or does it delay the inevitable? See, I think I am a decent person to give advice on communication. I do not think that I am a good person to give advice on healthy relationships. Relationships between people are dependent on the people involved, so there is no good or bad answer to that question. Stalking Anarchy asks, what is your favorite music genre? If I go by what I listen to the most, it is ambient chill-out trance, or ambient vocal trance, because it is the least annoying music that I can listen to while working. But I have a very broad, interest in music. I was in a pianola museum not too long ago, where I heard some very nice classical piano music, recorded in 1923, if memory serves. All right, it is almost time to stop. I will answer Liz's question. What is the difference between a bratty sub and a disobedient sub? A bratty sub wants to play. A bratty sub doesn't actually want to disobey, because they don't want to make their sir unhappy. A disobedient sub wants to make their sir unhappy. Sparkly Amber asks, there seem to be lots of different theories as to why hypnosis works. What is your personal belief? That it is a natural state of the human brain, just like sleep or concentrating. But as to how the exact mechanism works, that one is very much up for debate. Whew, all right. I'm sorry, people. All good things must come to an end, but I hope that you had fun. And I know you want to know what was for dinner, but I gave you my lunch. You can't have everything all the time. Ha. Hugs. And, because I'm nice, pet pet. I hope everyone had fun. Thank you for being here, and once again, thank you all my patrons and donators for their continued awesome and humbling support. Remember, be nice or be naughty together. Hee. This was Nimja Live. Wake. Oops. Let's try that again. This was Nimja Live.